Okay, here we are. Again, we're just going to look at a couple of problems that caused some headaches during class. So number 3 wasn't really that difficult. I just wanted to remind you that finding restrictions means basically finding every possible value that x could be, and we know that the angle is obtuse. So recall that obtuse angles have measures between 90 and 180 degrees. So we set these up like an inequality with the angle measure in the middle. Okay, so this angle measure can be anywhere between 90 and 180. And to solve this inequality, remember this is a compound and inequality, so we're actually solving two inequalities at the same time. Subtract 6 from everywhere. So we've got 84 is less than 4x is less than 174. And then we can divide everything by 4. So we get that 21 is less than x, which is less than 40, what is that? 60, 43 and a half. And that's fine, because remember that decimals and fractions are numbers too, and it's possible for an angle measure to be a half of a degree. So x can be anywhere between 21 and 43 and a half. Okay, number 4. Again, number 4 is not all that tricky. It's just you guys have to start getting used to using the information that's given to set up equations in order to answer the questions. So we're given that these rays trisect NOS, so we know that these 3 angles are all congruent. Okay, and we're also given some expressions for the angle measures of those 3 angles. And in the end, we want to know what is the measure of ROS. Like, that's now as a number. So we can see that the measure of ROS is y minus 10, but we want to know what is that number. Okay, so if we know that these 3 angles are congruent, we can set up a system of equations here. So notice here, we have x's and y's all over the place here. Whenever you see x's and y's like that, or 2 variables like that, a trigger should go off in your head that, it's time, we're going to set up a system of equations here. Okay, and there's a couple of different systems we could set up, but I'm just going to take the first 2 angles, 3x minus 4y, and set them equal to each other. And then I'll take the second 2 angles, x minus y equals y minus 10. Okay, and there's a couple of different ways you could solve it. I'm actually going to take this second equation here and solve for x. Okay, so I'm going to add y to both sides. So I'm going to get that x equals 2y minus 10, and then I will use substitution. So 3 times 2y minus 10 minus 4y equals 2y minus 10 minus y. And then we're going to simplify. 6y minus 30 minus 4y equals 2y minus 10 minus y. Okay, so we have 2y minus 30 is equal to y minus 10. If we subtract y from the right, or from both sides, and we add 30 to both sides, we get that y equals 20. Okay, and actually that's all we need, because if we look back up here, we're being asked to find the measure of ROS, and ROS is y minus 10. So this question does not ask us to find x and y. Okay, so if you found x first, then you'll need to go back and find y, but since we found y first here, and that's all we need to find the measure of YOS, we just simply have to plug it in here. And we find that the measure of I think I said YOS before, sorry. We find that the measure of ROS equals 20 minus 10, or 10 degrees. So again, if the problem had asked us to find x and y, then we would need to keep going and actually find x. But it's not asking us for that. it doesn't care about the actual values of x and y. We just needed the value of y to find the measure of the angle that it was looking for. Okay, let's look at number 5 here also. Now, I purposely left out the diagram here. When you're ever left out a diagram in geometry, you should draw your own. Okay, so QS, ray QS bisects angle PQR. So we'll start with angle PQR. And it says that ray QS bisects it. So we know that these two angles are congruent. And then we're given some information about PQS being 5y minus 1. And then PQR, which is the whole angle, is 8y plus 12. So this whole angle is 8y plus 12. And we also remember that this angle has been bisected. Okay, so if the angle's been bisected and these two angles here are congruent, if one of them is 5y minus 1, then the other one must also be 5y minus 1. So we can set up an equation. 2 5y minus 1s is equal to 8y plus 12. And then we solve. 10y minus 2 equals 8y plus 12. If we add 2 to both sides and subtract 8y, we have 2y equals 14. So y is 7. And we're asked to find the measure of angle PQS. Okay, so that's this angle here, PQS. So we got to plug in the 7 over here. Okay, so 5 times 7 is 35 minus 1. So that's angle PQS is 34 degrees. Okay, so we'll look at one of the DMS problems. Let's look at number 5. Find the measure of angle PDB. So this is PDB here. Okay, in order to find that measure, we're going to need to know CDB. Okay, we're given some other information here. In order to find, let's see, so we're going to have to find the measure of angle CDB by using the given measure for CDA and subtracting it from this guy right here, or subtracting this guy actually from CDA. So let's do that. We have 89 degrees, 9 minutes, 25 seconds, and we are going to subtract 18 degrees, 11 minutes, 36 seconds. Okay, now notice again, we can't take 36 from 25. Okay, so we're going to remember that, first of all, 1 degree equals 60 minutes, and that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Okay, so that's going to be helpful to us here because we're actually going to borrow. We're going to borrow from our minutes. And since we borrowed 1 minute, we're going to add 60 seconds. So that's going to become 85 seconds. And now we can do 85 minus 36 is 49 minutes. And again, see here, we can't take 11 minutes from 8 minutes. So we're going to have to borrow from our degrees. We'll borrow 1 degree. And when we borrow 1 degree, that means we get to add 60 seconds, and 8 plus 60 is 68. So 68 minus 11 we can do is 57 minutes. And 88 minus 18 is 70 degrees. Okay, so now we have the measure of this angle here, 70 degrees, 57 minutes, 49 seconds. And we want the measure of angle C, this whole thing, PDB. So we're going to have to add this number to that number. So 70 degrees, 57 minutes, 49 seconds, plus 30 degrees, 55 minutes and 47 seconds. Just add those numbers together. See what we have to work with. So 49 plus 47 is 96 seconds. 57 plus 55 is 112 minutes. And 70 degrees plus 30 degrees, 100 degrees. Okay, so I know we have a problem here because we can't leave this like this. This isn't simplest form, right? Okay, so we're going to take this 96 seconds and we're going to make a minute, right? There's a minute and change there, so we're going to take 60 of those seconds and add it to our minutes. So we'll rewrite this as 100 degrees. We're going to regroup, right? 113 minutes and 36 seconds. Okay, so we're almost done here. Now this is a problem, right? Because we don't want 113 minutes. We don't ever want to see more than 60 there, or more than 59 really there. So we're going to take 60 of our minutes and add a degree. So we're going to rewrite this, again, regrouping as 101 degrees. And then we just took 60 seconds away. So that leaves us with 60 minutes away. 53 minutes and 36 seconds. And that is it, the measure of PDB.